And so, boys, I'm going to ask you, as the fans out there and the viewers are deciding what to watch or what to follow, what are we all watching? The game that we're the most excited about this particular week. I think, Rahi, let's start it off.
Why don't we start with you?
Like, you start with me? Okay.
Defer to us, and then you get to choose your answer based on what we say, and you come up with the perfect answer. But I want to hear your answer.
Okay.
He sounds the smartest of that. He gets two smart guys talking first, then he gets an even smarter answer.
So it's one of the. All right. So, boys, here we go. This is a deep cut a little bit, but not so much for our Asian viewers.
If it's like,
because it's a big one. It's a big one coming up. It is Saudi Arabia versus Indonesia in the next round of the Asian World Cup Qualifier. So why am I picking this match? Well, there's a lot of interesting storylines involved here. So what we got is Indonesia. Rahi, of course, we watched them play during the Asian Cup. They played pretty good. Pretty good.
We didn't go to Indonesia to watch them play.
No, we didn't go to Qatar to watch them in the Asian Cup, but we watched them. Their games, and they actually are pretty good. And they have a wonderful young starlet, or star player, I should say, who just recently made a big transfer to Oxford in the championship. So he, of course, is Marselino Ferdinan. And let's see how he can do, a 19-year-old who is supposed to be the next big Asian star. So he's, of course, playing for Indonesia. But the one thing I've seen, Indonesia is yet to record a major victory over a top Asian national team, right? So they've done, they had some good wins during in the build up to the Asian Cup and as well during the Asian Cup, but never really kind of able to get that big victory. Now's their chance against Saudi Arabia.
That's an interesting one you've chosen, because you're right. I think it's a big moment for Indonesia. It's a chance for a team that's on the come up to show that they've arrived, and to do it against a team missing their talismanic manager, Bernard, no longer the manager of Saudi Arabia. Of course, Roy, you know Saudi Arabia well because it's a team that beat Argentina in the World Cup. So is this the same Saudi Arabia team, or is this a team that Indonesia can punch above their weight and beat? I'm not sure. It's a good question.
Well, their talisman is, of course, the guy who Roy remembers very well, Al-Dawsari, who scored against Argentina, the game-winning goal against Argentina, and he continues to be a top player, of course, for the rival squad of Cristiano Al-Hilal. So I don't know, Roy, you've been a big fan of Saudi Arabian football and stuff. So now's the chance to kind of see So in all seriousness though, how good do we think Saudi Arabia is? That's kind of where I wanted to go with this, because is there any shot? Does Indonesia have any shot, or has Saudi Arabia elevated now to basically that top level, that top tier of Asian football? That was a question, not a statement. Yes.
No, I'm thinking about
Indonesia has a shot. For sure they have a shot. No one in Asia is invincible. We've seen that. We saw that in the Asia Cup. The Korea came in as favorites, right? The most talented team probably in Asia, and they didn't do well. Japan the same, right? So I don't think anyone's invincible in Asia. We've seen that time and time again. Anyone's beatable. That's my take.
Saudi Arabia has only lost in the last. They only lost the match to Jordan, of course, who are runners up of Asian Cup. But even that match, they got eliminated in the Asian Cup. They lost to South Korea in penalties, so they didn't lose actually in the run of play. So I don't know. I mean, and the league's up. There's a lot of good players in the league, Roy. A lot of
Where's the game? Where's the game?
Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi.
Yeah. Saudi's interesting, and they're one of the only teams in the world. I think 99% of their roster plays in the domestic league.
Yep.
Literally 99%. I think they have one player. Who is it? It's the Roma guy. Abdul Hamid. Yeah. I think he's outside back, center back, he's 25. But they have one Roma player. The rest is pretty much evenly split between Al Hilal. I think they have 8, 9, 10 players from Al Hilal. They have Al Ittihad, Al Nasser. Al Nasser is almost half their roster. So these guys play with each other every single week. They know each other well. They play against each other every other week. So there is strength in that. There is a tremendous benefit in that. As we all know, chemistry matters for anyone that's played soccer before. Doesn't matter if you have the 11 best players in the world playing on the team. It matters how well they get along with each other, how well they play with each other, how well they know each other. So if you put a good coach on that team, which they have, and you get these players who play with each other constantly, they could do some damage. I think Indonesia has no chance. To be honest, Indonesia is not a powerhouse by any means. They're not even close to as good of a roster as Saudi Arabia. It'll be a real underdog victory. It'll be heroics kind of thing. But yeah, comparing the two teams, one is drastically better than the other. Let's be honest.
I guess then, Rahi, just kind of shifting gears, because Indonesia is one of these teams that's kind of in that haven't made the World Cup in a very, very long time. But they're one of those teams that's kind of right on the cusp, I would say, kind of like, right on the cusp. So what is it going to take for them to get to the next level? Is it just one statement victory, or what? We've kind of seen it with Jordan a little bit, right? Like Jordan kind of hanging around in that area that Indonesia's at right now, and then kind of turned it on, so.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think it's a statement victory, absolutely, because that gives you the confidence then to know that you can beat anybody. And then it's developing a true star, right? And they are on the verge of doing that as well, right? So those two things taken together, if they can get themselves a big victory in this round, right? Even if they're not able to get out of the round, if they're able to get a big victory, it'll go a long way because they have a budding star. So I think they are on the cusp, and it's just a matter of time for Indonesia to really take that next step.
Could be. They've had some decent games recently. They held their own against Japan. When was that? 6 months ago, 8 months ago in January.
The
Asian Cup.
During the Asian Cup,
3-1. That's one of their best recent games. But then they have other games where they lose 4-0 against Libya. They lose 5-0 against Iran. They lose 4-0 against Australia. These aren't great teams that they're playing against. They scrape by Vietnam.
In the region, they're good teams.
Yeah.
I mean, again, and that's what all you need this particular round, right? You're gonna have to nick one of those spots, and it will take probably 1 to 2 statement upset victories to get you to where you need to be, or maybe a couple upset draws or something. But we shall see.
Saudi's not doing great recently either. Saudi just lost against Jordan.
That was the one match. But Jordan is now. We'll have a separate video on Jordan some other time. But they're top of the group in Asia. Yeah, second best team in Asia.